What's up, everybody? Before we get into the video, there's two quick things I want to touch on. Number one being, is my audio coming out of both headphones now? Because I've been toying around with this and everyone knows how much I suck at audio. So is it working? Let me know. If it's not, I swear I'm going to lose my freaking mind. The second thing is I want you to stay to the very end because there's a very, very, very important pattern. There's two I'm going to draw out at the very end of this movie, and I need you to pay very close attention to it because it is extremely serious. Let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Michael Silva here to do a technical analysis update on the S&P 500. We are looking at the SPX. You can pull up the SPY. They all look very, very similar, but this here is the SPX. Now, if you've been following along, we have been really paying close attention to this trend line. I am on the daily time frame right now, and we broke down through it. Now, we will be hopping into the hourly time chart, but before we do, I want to reiterate what I've been thinking that's going to be potentially happening. Still hasn't played out fully, but I do see some other type of potential pattern forming if what I say will play out. Now, we've seen this chart hundreds of times. We've been saying it's a bull trap, a bull this, a bull that, and a bear this, and a bear deuce-dash. But I'm still paying very close attention to what is taking place these last couple of days. Now, as we've gone over before, we've seen it go up and pull back up and pull back up and pull back up. And now it is pulled back through the trend line that we've been keeping a very close eye on. It broke and closed below it. Now, this is a new low comparatively to this. So that is a sign of a potential full reversal. Now, what is very interesting, though, is how it's playing out. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up the Fibonacci retracement. Very popular tool here amongst traders. Shabada, shabadang. So if you see here, we've been saying that it's been getting stuck around the 50 and the 61% Fibonacci retracement level. And as you can see, boom, it bounced there today and started heading up at the end. Now we're gonna hop in, like I said, to the 1 hour time frame to get a good idea of where this could potentially go. But what I have been thinking that will be happening is where it came up and it pulled back to the 50, and I think we'll come back to get a retest of this trend line. And then that is where the real test takes place. Will this resistance hold, and will we see it come back to break down under the 50% retracement level, or will we see it break back above the trend line and above the 61% to make a new high? It's anybody's game. The Bulls and the Bears have been fighting, ping-ponging back and forth between the 50 and the 61% retracement level. Holy moly, it's been a crazy ride for all these traders, but I hope everyone is managing their risk because that is the only thing that we have complete control of in these markets. Let's go ahead and hop into the hour time frame. Okay? All right, we are here at the hourly time frame. This is what we've been going over this, right? So we've had this trend line from here all the way up here, and as you can see, it bounced from it here, bounced from it here, bounced from it here, and then by gosh, by golly, it has happened. The break down to the 200 period moving average, and it touched on the 50% retracement level just about. Now, the question is, what will be taking place? Well, let's get an idea of what can potentially happen by looking at a couple indicators here. The two indicators that I want to pay close attention to is the MACD and the 200-day period moving average. Now, the 200-day period moving average on the time frame, on the hourly time frame, is obviously different than the daily time frame, but it's still worth noting because a lot of traders have their eyes on this, and on top of that, it's with the 50% retracement level. So there has just been this coiling up within this area, and it finished off on somewhat of a high note with a nice big green candle above the 200 period moving average and a bounce point from the 50% retracement level. Now that's near the 200. Now on the MACD has been, it was very bearish throughout the day and then started losing its momentum towards the close. Now it does look like potentially it might be curling back over, and that's why I really am starting to think we might see that bounce up. Now anything could happen overnight, right? But we might see that bounce up intraday and test back on this trend line. So where are we going to close tomorrow? Well, that's anybody's game. Anything could come out on the news, but I will be saying that there's been a lot more bearish talk out on public mainstream. Like, for example, Warren Buffett came out and, you know, everyone treats him like, you know, the God of investing, which obviously by all means he is an absolutely amazing investor, but he's become quite bearish, I would say. I mean, he just had a big loss on the airlines and he pulled out. Gets a lot of people thinking, a lot of people questioning that. And then you have other big talking heads like Jim Cramer saying, hey, maybe you should sell some S&P 500 index funds. So there is a lot of talk, some articles coming out that people are getting a little bearish, and this bull kind of trap might be taking place. Like, we might see the end of this little run-up, okay? Actually, quite a powerful run-up at that. But it's still anybody's game. So I think that we're going to be coming up, retesting this, what we've been saying, and then it really depends what happens after that point. Will we get the best, like the breakdown, and will that be the lower high that's really going to set this market to turn over, and then we'll break through the 50% retracement level for the first time in quite some time? Or will all of a sudden some crazy good news come out, or whatever the case is going to be, and all of a sudden the market is just super happy, the economy is great apparently, and all the fundamentals don't even matter, even though no one has a job, and it breaks above the 61% retracement level to make all-time highs. Look at anything could happen. I don't think that that's likely. I would much rather bet on the downside than the long side at this point in time. So that's what we have on the hourly time frame. I still think, yeah, one of these two routes is where it's going to go. Actually, technically, I guess 3 routes, right? It could bounce up to the here and then keep ping-ponging back and forth. I guess that'd be the third route. So really, it can go up, down, or sideways. Woo! But I'm going to stick to my prediction where it's going to retest the trend line and kind of head back downwards. Let's go ahead and hop over back to the daily. Okay, really quick, I just want to touch on this too on the daily time frame. I said that there was an interesting pattern being played out earlier in the video, and it does kind of look like, so if my kind of idea that this will bounce from the 50 and then come back to retest the trend line and head lower, you can technically look at this as a new head and shoulders, just like that. And let me see here. You can technically see that as a new head and shoulders forming. Now, I didn't realize this until actually Game of Trades came out with a analysis or an update today. I didn't get to watch it, but I saw the thumbnail and I was like, hey, that's actually pretty funny because I've been drawing out this trend line here and I didn't notice that, hey, if it bounces up and retests the trend line, that's another head and shoulders. So if it breaks this trend line, which is, you know, touching here, 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 it's another trend line that I just was unaware of until he put out that video. So if you haven't watched his video, you should definitely go check it out. I'll put his link in the description. But this would be another head and shoulders pattern, or more specifically what this is known as. This is also known as the Bart-Simpson head. Now, this only comes around once in a lifetime, but the Bart-Simpson head forms, and when it does, it becomes the most bearish in all of history. Now, this is very serious, folks. I want you to pay very close attention because as you notice, when it comes to the right side of his head, there's an extreme drop-off from this point, and you can see that Bart is very happy about that. That's all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Talk to y'all later.